It's Friday, Fry-yay, right? I love the weekend. Is it just me? I think I like it most because I don't have to carpool or pack a lunch or do any of that kind of stuff. And I always have these visions that it's gonna be a great time to like get caught up on stuff, and that never happens. So, but I do love the weekend. So happy Friday to y'all. I wanted to share something with you because I think part of growing and becoming more proficient in the to-be mindset is to be vulnerable and to share things that are working really, really well and things that are not working well. I love the fact that we are doing a program together. I was going to pull up my tracker and it's not here, but there is no perfect, right? Hallelujah. Like there's no perfect. You cannot fail at this. I always love to say is that the opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is inaction. So as long as you're doing something and you're working on yourself each day, you are succeeding wildly, which is so fun. And I love that it's different for each one of us. But I want to share with you a big boo-boo, bobo that I made yesterday. And I didn't share it yesterday, and I kind of hid, I kind of isolated, and we know what happens when you isolate. When you go on an island, nothing good happens, unless it's a vacation in the Bahamas, but when you do that, you pull yourself away from truth and friendship and support. And I'll give you my story, and I'll tell you how that worked for me. But I want to back up just a minute and talk a little bit about coaching and mindset, and how you can self-coach what happens between these two ears, because this is ultimately what affects everything you're going to do in the To-Be program. There is a reason why it's called the To-Be mindset. It's not called the To-Be diet plan. It's not called the To-Be method. It's not called the To-Be workout. It's called the To-Be mindset. And chances are, if you're one of my clients, I talk to you about creating life skills, and that's what this is all about. It's about, yes, the food, yes, moving, yes, the way we feel, all of that good stuff, but it really starts with a solid foundation, a solid mindset, okay? So I'm gonna give you some tools, and then I'm gonna tell you a story about what happened yesterday. What happened was, okay, so I like to draw this diagram because I'm a visual person. I'm not a teacher, but I was, in my past life. That's what I wanted to be when I grew up for a hot minute. That's another story. But your thoughts, okay, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Your thoughts, right? Those are things that just pop in, create what? What do your thoughts create? Your thoughts create feelings. So we're on to something here. Thoughts create feelings, and feelings drive what? What happens when you feel a certain way, right? It drives your action. So feelings drive your actions. And we could talk a lot about that. Before you started the To-Be mindset, you had some thoughts that drove some negative feelings and probably some negative actions, maybe making some poor food choices, which led to what? Results, okay? This is a model for how you can coach yourself through the program. The cool part about this is that guess what you can change? You can change those thoughts. We talked about taking thoughts captive. We talked about reshaping thoughts. We talked about what that looks like. Hey, Lori, good morning. So if thoughts create feelings, and feelings create actions, and actions create results, are the results that you're getting the results that you want? Because as we know from To-Be mindset, you're either losing or you're learning. And that's what's so cool. Like, this is so fun, because if your results are not what you want right now, how can we go back up the chain, right? The old model, right? The old fitness way, when I first started coaching, when I first got into the fitness industry, We were so focused on actions. We were so focused on telling clients, here's the workout you need to do. Here's the food you need to eat. Here's when you need to eat the food. That's all actions. But if we didn't understand what was happening in the thought process, which drove the feelings, which created the actions, we really could not impact the results. And ultimately, it's not, me as a coach does not impact you. This is just community. That's what I love about this. But I'm my own client, right? Like I get to coach myself through this process. So I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday and what I let myself fall prey to, and maybe this will speak to you a little bit. So I got up in the morning, I had my quiet time, I didn't work out, which is not here nor, that's not a good or bad thing. My lower back was hurting and it was supposed to be a lifting day, and I just knew that was not going to work. So I did some extra reading, I was studying and doing some other stuff, and then got the kids up. Everything was, hustle bustle in the morning, still okay. I kind of felt off. Have you ever felt off, just like a wonky day? And then my husband came down, and as the kids had gone out to the car and he's going to drive them to carpool, he asked me if I had this money for fantasy football. They do a fantasy football thing in the neighborhood and whatever. And so he's the commissioner. And he believed he had given me this envelope of cash, okay? And I was like, I don't have the money. And it got into this conversation, and I say conversation, it was really an argument. We don't argue much in the way that we did yesterday. And there were a lot of accusations, and ultimately I started to think, y'all, I'm losing my mind. I've literally lost my mind. He gave me money. I don't know where I put it. I have no record of it. I have lost my mind. And in the back of my mind, I have a little bit of that. My mom's mom wrestled with dementia and Alzheimer's. I was starting to think, am I starting to show early signs of going crazy? Hey, Elizabeth. And so what happened in this chain of the process? I was thinking I was going crazy. I started to wonder what was going on. I started to feel angry. I started to feel overwhelmed. I ended up tearing my kitchen apart because I have these little secret places. You all have them, right? I used to store candy in them. Now I store cash in them. But I let those feelings take hold, which drove my actions. Now, my actions today were very different than my actions would have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I probably would have gone off the deep end in the pantry. I don't have a lot of stuff to go off the deep end with in my house anymore, but I retreated. My action was to not be present, to not really show up. I didn't talk to any new clients. I didn't do follow-ups. I didn't eat really well, and I didn't write a single thing down. Not an ounce of data. There's nothing on that page. It's blank. I was embarrassed, frustrated, and so what was my result yesterday? My result was not great. My result was a negative headspace all day. I have never felt so heavy as I did yesterday. And I mean, we can talk about spiritual stuff, and I felt like the enemy was really weighing down, but I had to do a teaching call last night for another group, and we went through this process, and I was like, girlfriend, you let this get out of hand yesterday, right? You can take those thoughts higher, right? Those thoughts can go higher. And thinking through that for this morning, what can we do? We can take all those thoughts captive. And if you believe in what I believe, you can submit them to God, right? To be reshaped and redirected. I felt so unloved. If I have to give it words, I felt so unloved. And I let that weight carry so much weight. And it impacted everything I did yesterday. And I was just a grump, right? It's okay to be a grump once in a while, but I want to empower you today. And if you're just joining us now, make sure you go back and listen to the very beginning of this call, because this is the power of this program. This is why this program is different. This is why this is not focused on the fitness and the food. and just the fun, right? This is deeper and this is higher. The cool part is every day, New Mercies, we get to redirect our thoughts. So today I woke up with a whole different vision, a whole different thought, and I journaled, right? Like that's a great way to take your thoughts captive. I put them on paper, I gave them over to the Lord, and I wrote all that down. And so I started the day feeling empowered. I started the day feeling connected. I started the day feeling loved. And I didn't need that from anybody else. Hey, Leslie. I got that through my quiet time, and I was redirecting those thoughts, which produced a feeling. So when the kids came down all crazy, it was in a great spot. Made them French toast, so I got to love them well. And then I've written down 3 or 4 things in my journal or in my tracker today. What time is it? It's 8:31. I've had almost 60 ounces of water. I had my bulletproof coffee, and I'm about to work out. The day is off to a completely different start than yesterday. Now, I could say, well, good Lord, I lost a lot of time yesterday. I didn't do things I was supposed to do, so now my to-do list is longer. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, right? But that's where I would say to you, wait up a minute, hold up. That's a thought, right? And a feeling of overwhelm. So if you're starting to journal, remember we talked about this in the tracker? As you're tempted is a kind of a good word, like denteo, right? Like we've learned that. Do I need this eating opportunity? As that chocolate is calling you, as that glass of wine is calling you, those could be temptations or they could be treats, right? They could be something that's great and you want to celebrate and enjoy that. That's all good. Track it down. But when those things start to come in, if you can grab a pen, like I shared that story of the summer, grab a pen and just write maybe what you're feeling. If I had done what I'm telling you today, yesterday morning, because carpool happened early, this brouhaha happened by 8 a.m. If I had written down in my tracker, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I feel unloved, and I had taken a minute to start addressing my thoughts, right? We could have changed the tide. We could have gotten on top of those feelings. I didn't have to let them take over and take hold. My day could have been fruitful. Maybe I didn't do a workout, but I went for a walk. Maybe I decided to go to the farmer's market and grab some new veggies to try, something that would leave me full and satisfied and be something adventurous and kind of positive, right? I could have come in here and asked for support, right? Like that's what we're all about. And the result would have been different. But I get to learn, I get to change what today looks like, and I get to share that story with y'all because here's how you change a culture. You share your story and you change your story. That's what's so fun, right? So I love to hear from you. Have you had one of those days? Have you had one of those days where you just said, I'm not tracking? And have you had a chance to go back and reassess what was the reason why? What held you back? What were you thinking? And I love that. What's the line about, I don't know, stinking thinking? Anyway, there's some little jingle about that, but my thinking was stinking yesterday, and my stinking thinking informed my feelings, which then, this is probably backwards, but led to my actions, which got me results I didn't want yesterday. But today we start again. So if this is encouraging to you, comment, let me know. We're gonna talk a lot more about mindset because that's really the crux of this whole program. And that's the fun part, right? Have a great Friday.